program. Heading back to the law courts now, Rollo spoke with three very prominent Geelong law people.
Thank you again, Megan. On Good Morning Geelong, we welcome Mary Foley, the Secretary of the Geelong Law Association, at the opening of the Geelong Law Year here at the old Magistrates Court in Geelong before they move across for their day's work at their offices or across at the new Geelong Law Courts. Welcome to Good Morning Geelong, Mary.
Thank you very much.
Off to another flying start for 2009.
Yes, looking forward to it too. It'll be busy.
It'll be busy. It's unfortunate in a way that we have to say it's going to be busy, but the nature of society at the present time unfortunately dictates that, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, yes, it does. But there's more than bad news stories. Sometimes it's good news stories.
The Geelong Law Association, for our viewers, you might like to explain what that body is?
It's a professional association of lawyers within the Geelong region, either lawyers practising in Geelong or people who live in Geelong and maybe practice out of Geelong. It is it's a fellowship association as much as a professional education body. We organise continuing education and we organise social functions. We ensure that the members are kept up to date with developments within their field of law, and then there are the obvious social functions that we all enjoy together, such as the annual dinner, the breakfasts. We have a number of social functions. We sometimes organise a day at the races.
Roach, you'd love that, wouldn't he?
Yes. There are some stayers. There are some people who are at everything, myself included.
Mary, how long have you been associated with in the job?
I've been at Geelong for 6 years, and I've been in the association 6 years.
Right.
If you're asking me how long I've been in law, since 1982.
So it's over 20 years, a 22-year period, going to 23.
Yes.
How did you first get interested in law? Because it is a fascinating subject.
Well, yes, it was a bit of a dare. I was a very young typist in an office where there were two young men who were doing their articles, and I made a comment about lawyers and how you become a lawyer, and they said, well, of course, women can only really do probate and conveyancing. And because I hadn't finished my secondary schooling, they also felt that just would be impossible for me to ever be a lawyer. So I went back to night school, and here I am.
You proved them absolutely 100% wrong.
Yes. So thank you very much, those two blokes. It was
And a little bit of assistance from above, you think?
Oh, he's always there.
He's always there.
He's always putting me in the right place at the right time.
And of course, coming up in May of this year, we always have Law Week, which is another big activity throughout Geelong, and we'll be covering it here on Good Morning Geelong and on News Geelong on Channel 31. But a lot of organisation going into that as well.
Yes, there is, and there's a number of organisations who combine to produce that. The Barwon Community Legal Service have a very big part in producing the program delivered in Geelong for Law Week. Victoria Legal Aid, for whom I work, they combine with Barwon Community Legal Service and put on quite a big program. But all of the lawyers here will participate in that. They'll give their time to deliver talks, or they'll man the stalls down in Market Square to inform people about what's available in the law.
Mary Foley, the Secretary of the Geelong Law Association, at the opening of the Geelong Law Year here at the old courthouse in our great city of Geelong. We're at the opening of the Geelong Law Association year for 2009, and one of the leading Geelong lights in the world of law joins us now. Brian, how are you, Mr. Roach?
Fine,
Kevin Roach.
Fine indeed, thank you.
I had Brian Thomham in mind then, mate.
Thommy, my days with him in Capital. Yeah, that's great.
Kevin, how long have you been involved in the world of law?
I finished my degree in 1968. I started in Geelong in 69 as an article clerk with dark hair and dark glasses. So 40 years ago.
40 years ago?
On the 17th of March of this year.
17th of St Patrick's Day.
My word.
A great day. Hasn't the law changed over those 40 years?
Well, it certainly has, not just in people, but just in format. When I first came here, we probably had 100 lawyers and maybe 15, 20 firms, and we used to socialise a lot. We'd have lunch and we'd play cricket or golf or football with one another, and everybody was very friendly. We all knew everybody else, but these days it's the pressure and the demands are just so great that you don't have time to fraternise like that.
And the specialisation in streaming, I think today compared with when you first started 40 years ago has changed?
Drastically different. I used to pride myself on being a generalist, and I'd hate to be a sole practitioner or a generalist now. And my specialty is just in estate and succession planning, and we've got people in our firm that do tend to specialise in different areas, and it's inevitable.
But you mentioned the world of social activity, of course. You would you be to the forefront enjoying the games of football, the day at the races?
Not so much the races, but certainly the football. I'm fairly one-eyed.
One-eyed?
Well, I'm married to a Hawthorn supporter, so our marriage was tested on grand final last year.
And unfortunately you came out on the wrong side.
I did.
Because if you look closely at his eyes, viewers, one's blue, one's white.
Absolutely.
The start of the year, Law Week coming up in May, it's always a very busy time.
It is. Well, law these days is very busy. We've stopped being a profession. We're really part of the consumer organisation, and our clients expect we'll provide the service. So it's just about all the year round now. You've got to be available, and because their expectations are pretty high and their demands are certainly there. They need decisions to be made. They need to be serviced. So it's quite different to what it used to be.
They need decisions to be made, they need the service, and they certainly get it from our law fraternity here in Geelong, and one of our leading lawyers, Kevin Roach. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great year.
Thank you. Same to you, fellas.
Joining us now on Good Morning Geelong is the Vice President of the Geelong Law Association, Mr Ross Brown, who emceed this morning's activities at the opening of the Geelong Law Year for 2009. Another busy one coming up, but a very interesting morning again, Ross.
Thank you very much. Well, we hope it's a busy legal year. We all like to be employed these days.
But Ross, in your delivery this morning, your little opening off the Law Association website, you brought home some wonderful little pieces of historical meaning.
Yes, well, in fact, it's not the website of the association, but you can Google Geelong Law Association, and it flows through to a set of documents in the archives of Deakin University,
right,
which show you an insight into the wonderful history of the law and legal profession in Geelong since 1840.
169 years, and Yarra Street in those days was known as?
Solicitors' Row, and you could look across Market Square, as it was in those days, just a vacant block of land. Well, obviously it was a square where people brought their goods in as a market, and you could see a whole row of buildings called Solicitors' Row where all the lawyers congregated. And there's still one major building there on the corner, Little Ryrie and Yarra Street, which is probably in its pristine state.
And back in those halcyon years, the Geelong Law Association even had its own football team.
Well, yes, but I don't know whether we had a Geelong Law Association then, but my theme was we always had an association of lawyers.
Right.
And in 1907 they had their own Geelong Lawyers football team. I don't know who they played against, but certainly they had the right stripes and probably the right colours.
And it's always been a close fraternity. I think you've mentioned there is a uniqueness to Geelong.
I think so. I think we all have to work together, and that adds an element of integrity and closeness. It's not like Melbourne. So I think that closeness and integrity and humour and good fun continues.
The Vice President of the Geelong Law Association, Mr Ross Brown, at the opening of Geelong Law Year here at the Old Magistrates Court in our great city of Geelong. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for those, Rollo. Stay tuned, don't move. We'll be back with more after the break.